My week in Narbonne began with a trip to Martine's favourite cafe, Co, which does a wonderful café gourmand. A café gourmand is coffee with a selection of cakes. Each cafe offers their own version with different cakes depending on what they've made that day. This was absolutely delightful. I loved all of them, but especially this little chocolate-filled one here. Then we had a brief wander through the indoor market, which sells just about everything you can imagine. There's cheese, barrels full of olives and garlic, fruit, vegetables and seafood. We headed down to the canal and took a walk along the waterside towards Narbonne's Roman Museum. Narbovia is a collection of Roman artefacts from around the city. This is a map of how the city used to look in ancient times, with a recording of the artist explaining how they made it. This was a really impressive 180-degree panoramic reconstruction of the streets of Narbonne in Roman times. You got to visit the Colosseum, the bathhouse, the temple, and a traditional family home. It really brought things to life. In the next room, there are a set of detailed miniature reconstructions of houses from around the town. This was an entertaining reconstruction of a Colosseum with a Lego audience. The most impressive part of the museum is this giant wall full of preserved Roman carvings. They used to be stored in a local church, before being moved here. The scale of the display is really amazing. You get a real wow moment as you walk through. It's good fun looking up the images on the screen and then trying to find them on the wall. There was a modern art display alongside the Roman remains, but I felt it mostly served to highlight the skill of the ancient artisans. This is part of an altar to a mysterious oriental goddess called Cybele, possibly from around the 3rd century AD. It shows a sacrificial bull and ram, as well as tambourines, which were her sacred instrument. This stone shows someone holding a lituus, which was used for augury, reading omens to predict the future. I remember reading about that in Empire by Stephen Saylor. This section talks about animal sacrifice, a stark reminder of how different our cultures have become. I'm always drawn to the section on funerary rites and religion in any museum. This is part of a sarcophagus depicting a rather cheeky bacchanalia. Around the 3rd to 4th century AD, Romans moved from burning their dead to burying them. Here are more steles commemorating important people. And these are the remains of a 5 or 6-year-old child buried in an African amphora, which is a clay jar used for transporting wine, oil and grain. Here's an example of a Roman mosaic. These are more amphora. The word means a vessel that can be carried on both sides, because it has handles on either side. This first one was used to carry olive oil. The second, famous Chios wine. The next two were also wine, and the last one was salted meats and garum. I was so engrossed in the death rites that I didn't realise there were other rooms off the mosaic, so I missed those. Whilst Martine went to look at the ancient boats, I continued my pursuit of sarcophagi. became more elaborate as the Romans converted to Christianity, incorporating biblical stories. But what is that person doing to that child? This is a small pagan shrine to Isis, found hidden away at a thermal bath. The coins were left as offerings, confirming the survival of pagan worship during the rise of Christianity. Seriously, take your hands off his face. It was really fascinating to learn about the history of Roman Narbo Marcius and its role in the ancient world. Then it was time to head home.
I feel like I want to join in. This is typical music from this area. They do this every Wednesday. It's not very loud today. Sometimes they have a live concert.
I have to admit, I love starships, they're cute, but Roombas bother me. They look like they're waiting for a chance to push you down the stairs. Crème de marron for dessert again. Heaven.